So the first thing for me is to have a look at the different measures to put into place before the 25th of May in order to make sure that you will not be exposed to any kind of fines or sanctions from the authorities. I'm just going to list a few of the key measures. I actually assume that a lot of you have already taken most of these measures, but I strongly invite you to map the different processes around each one of them, and if not, start setting the action plan to become compliant. As I said, and for your information, I will send you the presentation, so you can actually look into more details into each one of them, but they're quite straightforward. Amongst these key measures, I could actually mention a few. I could mention, for instance, the possibility of managing rights between users, so really the access to the data, the right to edit the information, and so on. I could also mention the security of all of your IT systems with clear continuity and recovery plans, or the possibility to encrypt or anonymize data throughout time. We've had a lot of questions from our clients for the past few months. In the next few slides, I'll actually try to list the most frequent ones, and I'll try to bring you a clear answer. One of them is actually the process to follow in case of security failures affecting the personal data of either your members, your donors, or your clients, and so on. And it actually seems that a lot of people have not yet realized the critical nature of the question and the risk that they are exposing themselves or their organization to. So what we strongly advise you is to map out a process where you will notify the supervisory authority within 72 hours maximum. You will document clearly the security failure, and you'll inform the data subject to the issue in a clear and understandable language. That is extremely important if ever you are putting at risk his rights and freedom. Do I have to appoint a data protection officer, a DPO? It is actually mandatory for quite a few organizations. It is mandatory for all public sector organizations, and it is also mandatory if you are dealing with sensitive or confidential data. Quite a few of you will probably be dealing with that type of data. What we actually recommend, whatever your situation is, we really strongly recommend to appoint a DPO. As your organization could be audited, it will be a lot easier if you have one point of contact, one referral to deal with the situation. It's important to understand that the DPO can either be in-house, it can be an outsider to the organization, or it can obviously be mutualized. So the DPO can deal with other functions within the organization along the side with this DPO functionality. Do I have to keep a record of processing activity? So for the record of processing activity, it's actually said that you have to keep one if your organization has more than 250 employees. It is also mandatory if you are dealing again with sensitive data, or if you use the data continuously, as it can be the case, for example, when you're dealing with donations, as you might solicit the same donor several times throughout the year, or when dealing and interacting with members, for instance. So under these scenarios, you will be expected to keep such a register. What information are you going to keep in your register of processing operations? So you'll keep obviously the processing records, which will include several information, such as the nature of the treatment, the person responsible for the contact, potential sensitive data, The date of the interactions, you might or might not know it, but for example, GDPR requires you to delete the data of an individual after 3 years of no response to your solicitations, the safety measures in place, and so on. Again, I will send you the PowerPoint so you can make sure that you have all the elements and can have a look at them.